Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Buckeye Politics. It's me, your favorite Ohioan. Today, we're going to be looking at my great home state of Ohio and the 2024 Senate election here, where we are seeing some pretty big updates, actually. The first Republican has entered the race, and that is former state senator, Matt Dolan. Matt Dolan is officially announced today that he will be running for United States Senate against incumbent Democrat Sherrod Brown. Now, Sherrod Brown, for those of you who did not know, has been in the United States Senate since 2006, but he has been in the United States, not even the U.S., he's been in like Congress, he's been in all these other positions since like the 1970s. Bro is the definition of a swamp creature. But he is still pretty well liked here, despite being a leftist by all intents and purposes. He is one of the most far left senators, but he was not always that way. So a lot of voters here still like him because they don't really understand that it's not the Sherrod Brown back in 2006 was a different Sherrod Brown than in 2023 now. So Sherrod Brown, like I said, because of that, and because of Ohio's trend to the right as well, a lot of people have thought that, maybe Sherrod Brown could lose in 2024 and the GOP could flip this seat and control both Ohio Senate seats and help us take back the United States Senate. I will have a full video on that coming out probably pretty soon eventually. But this is kind of going to be coverage since we are finally having the first candidate enter the race. Now, Matt Dolan, he is a state senator, or he was a state senator before then. He was in the state House of Representatives, and he is also just a pretty well-known guy, especially in the Cleveland area, because the Dolan family, his family, they own the Cleveland Indians, now the Cleveland Guardians, which, that should tell you all you need to know about Matt Dolan and his family. So yeah, sure, Matt Dolan is a Republican, but at the end of the day, I really would not consider him too conservative. He's sort of what I would consider a more Rockefeller, Mitt Romney type. On economics, he's right wing, low taxes, low spending, all that good stuff. But on social issues, he's really like weird. He's pretty much a centrist. He's basically doesn't really care when it comes to social issues. He's basically, I don't really want to say libertarian because he is, still socially, I guess, conservative. But even in the state legislature, Matt Dolan did veto and vote against a lot of abortion stuff. So, he really is not all that conservative on social issues. Economics, however, he is basically a free market kind of guy. And that's really not a good fit for Ohio. Ohio, as a whole, is a very working class, very blue-collar state. I would know. I'm from here. And we're a very populous state. We like populous candidates. We like people who are, maybe a little bit less, I don't really know how to put this. They're not really condensed, and they're not really fully supportive of a complete one ideology. We like people who are, going to actually be a little bit more pragmatic, especially in economics, and actually stand up for, everyday people. That's why we elected J.D. Vance, and that's why Tim Ryan was the Democratic nominee. Both Vance and Ryan were both very populist candidates, and that kind of shows the realignment we're seeing, the fact that J.D. Vance even ran as a Republican. So it's very interesting to see, and Matt Dolan is really not that type of candidate. I do think he would actually probably do pretty well. I think that Trump, especially if he runs, would bring a lot of those rural voters out for Matt Dolan, and I think that Dolan, being that moderate, suburban Republican, would do very well in places like Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati especially. And I think Matt Dolan would actually be a pretty electorally strong candidate. I think, especially if this conditions were right, I do think he could defeat Sherrod Brown, but I think we can just do a lot better. I think, why would we send Rob Portman when we could send J.D. Vance? Is what I'm thinking. Basically. I will give Matt Dolan credit where credit is due. However, his 2022 Senate campaign, because he did run for Senate in 2022, I was actually kind of impressed with him. I kind of assumed he'd be this anti-Trump, moderate Republican, but he actually did pretty well in the primary. He ran a solid campaign. He came in third place, to my surprise, despite being vehemently, anti-Trump, although he did, he wasn't like, I hate Trump, but he was also not, he didn't really support Trump either. So he still did very well in the primary, all things considered, and he did run on issues that matter. He focused on immigration. He didn't really talk about trade, but he did talk about immigration. He did talk about drugs and overdoses and how we can get that stuff down, which those are big issues to Ohio voters. So that's why I think Matt Dolan probably wouldn't be the worst candidate electorally, because I do think he could, if he runs on the issues that matter, I do think he would still do very well with white working class voters, while also doing very well with, the traditional Republican suburbanites. That said, why would we send another Rob Portman to the Senate when we could send someone like J.D. Vance? That's why I support Warren Davidson. I'd be open to someone else that's better. I'm not very impressed with any of the candidates listed here. I mean, John Husted, he's probably going to run for governor eventually, although he wouldn't be horrible. But everyone else is pretty much like, I don't really, they're all pretty bad, to be honest. And Warren Davidson is probably the best candidate in the field right now. Maybe somebody will come up later who I'll support and will be the better candidate. But yeah, right as of now, Matt Dolan has officially announced his campaign to challenge Sherrod Brown. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. If you did enjoy this video, please be sure to like and subscribe for more.